Welcome back, everybody. Will
How you
Price and
doing?
Nick Castillo here. How you feeling, Nick?
Ooh, it's been a long day, I feel like.
Good,
But
nice lunch.
good lunch, yeah. Little tuna Sammy.
Ah, good. Good
Can you
stuff.
smell
Ooh. All right, we're coming back. We have a marathon match update. We're going to start with that, and then we're going to talk about round 2 of the design semifinals.
good.
First thing at first on marathon, I heard there was little stuff happening behind the scenes.
There
and
was.
You went and got the details. Nick was pounding the pavement to get the details for
Yes,
us.
I felt like a news investigator. It's pretty cool. But so while we were on break, I did notice when we were looking at WLAT's screen, he went into the forums and there were a couple threads in there, and it was mentioning that one of the people found a bug in the testing program. So what happened was that there was like a variable. Instead of an R, it was supposed to be a C. Anyway, one of the members caught it, and Tim verified that it was a valid bug, and they fixed it right away. And Tim said it wasn't a huge deal. It didn't really change the score too much, but it seems like everyone's still chugging away.
Yeah, all right. Well, speaking of the score, we will bounce over there and see how that marathon match is looking right now. So Saiho has reclaimed the top. He and W. Lathy have been really swapping places at the top of the leaderboard as things have gone on. It's really just a slugfest up at the top between those two right now.
No, it's really great too, because I talked to Tim about this as well. WLAT has been to I don't know how many TCOs in a row, maybe like 5 or 6, and the highest he's ever finished is 5th place, and he looks to be in a good position.
Yeah, great start for him. Also, great moving up that leaderboard. Tomei Run getting up there. That's nice, and I'm guessing he might have some fans watching back home. We're seeing lots of viewership in Japan, so hello to our Japanese viewers. Thank you for watching us, and we'll try to keep you informed about how you guys are doing.
That's great. We saw him a little earlier. One of his visualizations was really interesting. The way it looked like he was tackling the problem. Wasn't there?
Yes,
right.
That may have been Chakudai.
Chakudai. I thought it was Tomarin.
All right. Either way, yeah. No, if we can get a shot of that again, if he runs that again, I would love to pull it up because his visualizer is very, very fascinating. The way he's tackling it versus some of the other ones that we're seeing, and it just shows the different way that different minds try and break down these problems. So I'll try and paint a picture, I guess. While I'm saying this, though, I'll also just work to pull up Chakudai's screen here.
Cool.
So we can kind of get a live look in and see if we can maybe catch his visualization running.
And we got Chinmay checking in, just saying hello to us. So hello, Chinmay.
Thank you for tuning in. And
on Facebook Live.
Oh, awesome! I love the Facebook Live action. We get some activity in that Twitch chat too.
Whoa! Look at that! Oh, look, he translated the description of the challenge.
Oh, was that on Google Translate?
Maybe. I think he used some sort. This actually was a problem a couple years back where there were, some members that didn't quite understand the problem, and I guess it wasn't translated very well. I'm not sure if we did anything to facilitate it this year to translate into their language, but.
All right. So, going back to Chakudai's approach, I don't want to leave everyone hanging after talking about how he was starting to tackle that problem. So what I've seen from a lot of the competitors is each patrol car kind of picking its own route and going off to a corner, or they kind of split up. And when I saw Chokudai running his code, it was almost like, it looked like wipers on a car, like windshield wipers.
Right.
They would line up and just kind of go up and down and just clear everything out and just totally wipe it clean. And I think his idea is to clean out as big swaths of the map.
Yeah.
But and just accept the collateral damage that happens when things regenerate behind them. But yeah, it was almost like a
It's almost like taking a rake down.
Oh
yeah. Down
so
a yard.
I'm just pulling him up, and I'm hoping that he runs it again, so we can just see that, because we've seen a lot of the visualizations so far today and the broadcast, and this one's just different than the others, and I really like to demonstrate that. But obviously, we can't tell him what to do. He's working on his own submission.
This is great. As you can see, that's what I mentioned before. You can see in the background the Japanese characters.
Yes.
Translate Google. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
He's using,
So
he's
hey,
using that.
using the tools that he needs to use to compete, and I mean clearly. That's got to be a good thing for Google Translate if it works well enough that he can work his way all the way here using it.
Exactly.
So it means the translation's got to be decent. So.
Hopefully.
So it looks like looks like he's just kind of reviewing test case results at the moment. Also, just in case anyone had missed it earlier, we did post the full spec that the marathon match competitors are working on in the Twitch chat.
Right.
It's also been posted on the Facebook feed. So if you want to see what these folks are working on, that is something that is available to you to go and check out. And I'm also just now realizing, this is our second show of the day. It might make sense to talk through what they're doing.
Right.
In case we have some new viewers, people tuning in who haven't been here before. So what we've been talking about is the marathon match. The marathon match is exactly what it sounds like. It is a grueling, long slog of code.
Yes.
So, Nick, how long are they going to be sitting here?
Well, it looks
All in all.
All in all, about 10 hours.
10 hours. How much time is remaining?
About 4 hours and 50 minutes.
I teed up easy ones for you. I'd like you to take notes. So
I get to look right at the scoreboard and it has the timing down. So thank you for that softball.
Yeah.
It looks like Chokodai is
anytime.
about to submit his example. Let's see if he moves up in the rankings.
All right, we can pull up that leaderboard there.
Do you see the?
You can see that Chokodai
spinning.
has code compiling right now.
Right.
So the problem that they're trying to solve right now is called
those
City
switch.
Patrol. Tomei Run had a visualizer going. We missed it.
Oh no. Of course.
Of course we did. So the problem is called City Patrol. The competitors are given a grid of that represents a city. So a lot of cities are laid out in a grid-like fashion. And each cell on that grid has the possibility of having crime happen in it. That's represented on the visualizer that you may see over the course of our coverage today. It's represented by a red square. There are also gray squares that represent high-risk areas for crime to occur. Now, each of the competitors are also given a set number of patrol cars. That's their tool in the fight against crime right there. So they're dispatching these patrol cars and sending them on routes, and they're trying to do so in the way that stops the active crimes as efficiently as possible and prevents the spread of further crime. So we'll jump back over to Chokodai for a second and see if we end up getting any visualizer action so you can see what we're talking about. But that's what he's working on, and we actually just had a little note dropped off, a little bit extra. So.
Oh yeah. So Jesse has informed us that Chokodai doesn't speak or read any English, so that's why you saw that Google Translate up there a little earlier.
Yeah. So. Still able to compete despite not speaking the language at all.
Right.
That the problems are written and presented in. So
That
really
just shows
a testament to one, his dedication because he's willing to use these tools and figure it out, and two, his ability to cross any culture gaps or language gaps and make it happen.
Exactly, and I mean that's what they say too, right? Is that math is just the crux of everything. It's a universal language.
It is. That's totally true. So let's go see. Let's try to poke around, see if we can get any visualizers so we can see things coming together. So we're going to go over to Tomei Run.
Tomei Run.
So a little. Kind of in our layout here, I can see across from me some of the monitors that we have displaying in the venue, and the one right in front of me is Tomei Run. So when I see him running his visualizer, I know what's going on. So I'm gonna go right to him to see if I can catch it, and we can see what's happening.
And we know your favorite kind is the large one compared to the small city. You like the 100 by 100 squares.
I spent enough time in New York that
That's true.
I'm
You're a big
used
city
to,
guy.
I guess sometimes I like cities, so it's of all types, especially when there's no crime in them.
No crime.
Because the algorithm is just so effective. So looking over in at Tomei Run right now, looks like he's just thinking right now. That's one of the things that we notice happen a lot during the algorithm competition, the marathon competitions.
Right.
Because it's so long, it's not critical to be typing at every second. Sometimes you're best off just stepping back and thinking, and really, trying to see if the light bulb goes off. I know I've seen a couple of the competitors here wandering around, just lost in thought. I saw Merrick is notorious for it. Just chilling
during
on
the
a
break,
beanbag.
actually. Yep, chilling on a beanbag.
Yeah, chilling in a beanbag with a piece of graph paper and just writing out all his math and double checking it in his head, trying to think of what he can do better. So, and I saw a couple other folks doing the same thing as well. But it looks like that's where we are with Tomei Run right now. So we'll go over, check in on our leader at the moment. That leader right now is Saiho. Sitting on top of the leaderboard, it is close still at the top of the leaderboard. Really, the top three are all close enough to each other that it could go any way. Saiho on top, W. Leti trailing behind him, and then Tomei Run. And then we have a bit of a drop off to the rest of the pack.
Right, and they keep switching too, which is pretty good to see. It seems like they all have the idea down. Now they're just like trying to refine their code, and looks like there was some change maybe toward the lower end. Cataline T has moved into fourth.
Yes, Catalan T has been kind of up and down on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen him in the bottom three, and then 10 minutes later he'd be in the top two, and then back down a few minutes later. So it could be a question of how often he's running tests, or as opposed to the others, because obviously they only check in with and we get a score update when they submit their codes. So if he's not writing frequently, there's a lot of opportunity for other people to submit more frequently to get big jumps in the leaderboard while he's kind of sorting through his thoughts.
Right.
No one wants to run visualizers for us, Nick. This is that's disappointing. All right. So that's our marathon match. I think it's time to talk about the other competition that's going on right now. So switching to our arena camera, you can see down at the far end, things have quieted down a little bit in the top quarter arena. I think people might just be in a little bit of like a vegetative state after eating lunch, filling up and just kind of falling asleep. I'm sure the designers from this morning all just went and took naps after their grind.
They really are just chilling out right now on their phones, just trying to get their mind off of it, I'm sure, for a little bit before they have to attack again.
And now their teammates, or I guess the teammates, but also competitors, also rivals. It's kind of how it works here. But the remainder of the design group is now beginning work on their semifinal round. So
is it the same problem?
It is the same problem, to my knowledge. If they change it, no one told me. So let's check in, see how things are going over on the design side of things. We're first going to go over to Yoki and see how that is going.
All right, Yoki.
Now, keep in mind, this round just started. We're only 17 minutes into this design round here. So
looks like they're trying to find their images they want to use.
Getting the right stock imagery is important. So if you tuned in earlier to our broadcast, you caught the second half of the competition where things were a lot more refined. Now you're catching the early half. So we're seeing kind of how a designer's mind works as they begin to process the problem.
And what program is this he's using?
He is in Sketch.
This is Sketch, okay.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Sketch. Earlier we had Adam on and we talked about it a bit. I'm going to try to bring him back during this competition at some point to give us the design point of view, the master designer point of view. So Yoki really just working on coloring, and already you can see he's taking his stock imaging and adding a little touch to it. Too early in the competition right now to tell if he's going to kind of tackle the user experience in a different way. I think that'll be something we kind of start to see come to life.
An hour or so, we'll be able to see something more substantive.
Yeah, so also queued up, ready to go, we have, sorry, Nick, I think we have Karm ready to go.
Okay. Cool.
Oh, wait, No, we don't. We had to change the plug. We had the scoreboard going.
Oh no!
No. Well,
I can do that real quick.
yeah, Nick's gonna do that real quick. Do you know what to do, Nick? Find the unplugged cord and plug it in, and I'll do it. Nick's gonna talk. Nick's gonna talk to you about Yoki's design work.
All right. Although I could talk about Yoki in general. Yoki's actually a longtime member. He's been at the past at least 3 TCOs ever since I've been a part of Top Coder. From Indonesia as well. Yoki has, I believe, finished in the top 5, at least in the last year. So it looks like he might still be looking for images. Stock images are pretty key to making your design pop, I feel like.
Right, and design contests are very subjective. So while it's critical to solve the user experience and guide the user in a meaningful way through an application, it's also important to have that pop in your visual design that makes someone look at it and want to stick with it long enough to figure out the user experience part of it.
Right.
So apologies for the little delay there. Now we can switch over and see Karm.
Karm, all right.
So looks like Karm is taking a bit of a different approach here. Has a couple stock images ready to go and is starting to lay out on a dashboard page for this application. What's the application? I think that's probably a good question we should tackle. Do you want to take this one, Nick, or shall I?
I think you have more of a grasp on it.
All right. Well, our great sponsor at TCO17, M&T Bank, is the sponsor of the Design Challenge this year. They kind of sponsor an outreach program to youth in the Buffalo area. We are here in Buffalo, New York, of course. And part of that program is partnering up with schools, and they want to help students at this school. It's called the Westminster Charter School. They would like to create like a mentor matching program. So think about this.
Yeah.
Maybe you're an 8th grader and
you like that sometimes?
Yeah, you may have been there once. So you're an 8th grader and you're saying, I want to figure out what I want to do with my life. What do I want to start as I start thinking about high school? How can I get more experience?
What classes should I take?
Yeah, what classes should I take? What skills should I develop? What colleges should I start thinking about wanting to go to? These are things that sometimes not everyone can get the answers to, but you need help, and that's what the mentorship program does. The mentors opt into this program. They're members of the community. They're people here in Buffalo, business leaders, community organizers, people who want to help. And this app that is being designed right now is going to be a matchmaking tool where students can find available mentors and connect with them, communicate with them, build a relationship, and try and kind of get that going with someone whose mind and works in a similar way to theirs and whose passions line up with theirs as well.
And I remember hearing maybe a little earlier, is there some sort of swiping that's involved, like that they want as part of this application, or like to choose?
I think that's going to be up to the designers to choose how the interaction will work. One of the ideas that was floated is almost like the swipe left, swipe right, dating app sort of thing. And then I got the little tisk when I said it's like a dating app.
Yeah.
Because obviously it's not in that manner, but it is about matching people together based on similar interests.
Okay.
But it's just, a good wholesome way to give back to the community for these mentors, and something that will hopefully help out these the youth who are going to tap into this.
This one seems to be targeted toward ladies, perhaps?
It might be, but also I think it's going to go either way. So it looks like Karm is trying to put together a submission here that covers a little bit of everything, because there isn't a target audience for this application outside of knowing that they're students in 7th and 8th grade, basically.
Okay.
It could be either gender, it could be varying socioeconomic backgrounds. So I think what he's trying to do here is say, like, there's something for everyone here. Entrepreneurship, fashion design, creative, a creative pursuit, or something that's a little more business focused and more objective. I think that's what we have going on here, and
It definitely seems to be using like the Apple design language with the icons on the bottom like that. It's how you're seeing most apps develop nowadays. I think he's really taking that and making his design more impactful that way, so the customer can actually see it and really get a grasp of what a potential app could look like for them.
all right. Let's bounce around the design world a little bit more and go
Cool.
check in on our next competitor. Now we're checking out Abadavara.
Ooh, reigning champion from TCO17. So this guy won it all last year, and he's looking to repeat.
All right, so a little bit tool change up here. Abadavara working in Photoshop right now. We've seen a couple sketch users so far, so a little bit difference there, and I'm just curious to see
wow.
here. So that was the website.
Oh,
of,
that was the
the
actual
school.
website.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, he's only been competing for about like 20 minutes.
Yes. So that's a great segue into the format of this competition. So the design competition, there's 2 semifinal rounds. Round 1 took place earlier today. Round 2 is what we are currently showing you. Each round lasts 3 hours, and the designers have to put together the tablet view of the application in 3 hours. After that is complete, the designers will have a workshop with the customer from M&T Bank. We'll sit down, get that feedback, and then they'll come back and do the final round and integrate that feedback, because anytime you're doing design, it is a collaborative process. Even if these guys are competing and they're on their own, they're going to be, ultimately their number one collaborator is their customer. They need to make sure that they take that feedback and run with it.
Again, not different from a typical challenge on Topcoder.
No, yes. So a typical design challenge on Topcoder does have that opportunity for any designer, and that's, if you're watching now and you've never competed in a design challenge on Topcoder, I mean, first of all, give it a shot. It's pretty cool. But the other part, you'll halfway through submit work in progress, and you'll get feedback from the real customer. So if it's a big company too, like a GE, who was our sponsor last year of the design challenge, you'll have people at General Electric sit down and look at your code, look at your design, rather,
right? Yeah.
And they'll tell you what works and what doesn't work. So, win or lose, you're coming out with something valuable there, because you're coming out with a real world experience. If you win, then you get to say, hey, look at that. That's my design running now at GE or any one of our other wonderful customers.
I mean, that's what I like to say to a lot of potential members as well, and it really gets them excited, because this is one of the very few places that gives you that type of opportunity to, work on projects, real world projects, not like your buddy's project or something like that. You're doing projects for, businesses like IBM, like you mentioned, General Electric, and getting that experience. And what I keep hearing from our members that have been with us for a while, they're like, that's one of my favorite things is I get to see my work in action in the public's eye.
I was actually speaking earlier with one of our developer members, Bill Edison.
Oh yeah.
Coming in from China. He's competing later in the development challenge, and he worked with me for about a year of ongoing challenges building a mobile game, and he submitted to every single challenge, and he won almost every single challenge. His background is in game development, so it was a great fit for him. And the first question, I met him in person for the first time the other night, and the first question he says to me is, hey, how come that app's not on the App Store yet? I want to download it and see it. And I was like, they're still working on the certification process and all that. But,
okay, so it's almost there, though.
No, it's going to get there. And, when it is live, that's going to be publicly available. And he's counting down until he can, download the game that he won, almost every challenge in creating. So, and that's going to be out under a major brand, too. And he can look at that and just feel, proud about that. So,
would you say that alone probably earned him a seat here at the TCO?
It's quite possible that over the course of the past year, that one project and his performance there won his ticket here.
About how many challenges was that, you think, for that particular project?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot, but I want to say he probably won between 5 and 10 on that project. And did a little extra stuff on the side to spruce things up when needed. So
very cool.
Little shout out there if you're watching, Bill Edison. Nice job.
So it looks like he's putting in his little location markers to kind of enhance this little banner that he's creating. So it looks like he just kind of took a screenshot of a Google map of a certain
Buffalo.
area. A Buffalo?
It is Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
I recognize some of the restaurants.
Streets? Yeah.
I went by them on the way to the arena every morning, so I said I
Nice.
know that layout.
But see, that's impressive though, because I feel like I wouldn't have even thought to put these little markers on top of it, and you don't really notice it until it actually happens, right? So I would have just maybe I would have thought of putting a map back there, but I wouldn't have done anything more than that.
Yeah, well, Abed Davara is a reigning champion, very, very talented designer, and just has been at this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many TCOs he's been to?
Well, that might be a question for Adam.
So
Yeah.
the answer is a lot.
A lot, yeah.
To my knowledge.
Him, I am Tong. He's been around for a while as well. Yoki, and I believe we had D-Jack already on, right?
Yeah, D-Jack was
Yeah.
in our morning session. D-Jack created 11 screens in 3 hours.
Oh, Jesus.
So let's check in on, let's move around. We'll go over to our representative from China in the UI design competition, Yiming. So let's see what we have going on here. So first thing that jumps out to me on Yiming's work is the color scheme that he's choosing. So he went and he actually looked up that school and took their color scheme. Looks like he's got his color set. You can actually see on the right-hand side, he's got the document colors. He's got all the branding already saved in his palette.
Oh, does he?
Yes, he just hit it while you scooched over to take a closer
Okay,
look.
cool.
But yeah, so Yiming getting right in there, sticking with the branding. Not much to report back on how he's trying to build out that user experience yet.
Let's see if sticking with the branding works out for him, Cotton.
Oh man, I wasn't expecting that. All right, so while Yiming works on that user experience, that nicely branded user experience, hopefully, we're going to jump around a little bit more and show where everyone's at early on in their process. So, representing Venezuela,
Oh,
It's Chexper.
Chexper's awesome.
Yeah, Chexper is great. He does some co-piloting work for us. He competes. And he's just such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy. There's just like, for the first time you meet him, it's like you guys have been friends for years, you know.
Yeah, he invited me to go skiing with him.
Yeah.
His new home, his new home country.
He is representing Venezuela, where he's from, but he recently moved to Chile. So.
Yes, so he had a long trip up here, and they're just closing out their ski season. So I guess I might have to wait till next year.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. So this is a different approach here. So
look at
Chexper is really focusing on the interest of the person who's searching out a mentor, trying to do so with kind of this nice iconography instead of
Words.
yeah, instead of words or feeds. He wants to kind of. I mean, this tells me that it's going to be almost a wizard, like a matchmaking wizard for
Interesting.
finding your mentor. So cool approach there coming in from Chexper.
And that's always something you want to look at when you are looking at designs. How can you show the user what to do without literally like writing out the words and saying click here to look at this or click here to do that? You know, the same idea with signs that you see in the world, right? You know that behind the door is stairs because there's a picture of a guy going upstairs, right? So how do you convey to the user what clicking this button would do? So obviously it looks like the one playing soccer would be interested in sports, right? So very cool, very creative.
All right, going to now move over, check in on Conlin.
Conlin, another Indonesian representative.
Yeah, another part of the crew, the Indonesian top coder crew. So what we have going on here looks like a design. Looks like there's going to be a kind of a profile page. It's still a little early to tell, and right now he's looking at that's the website for the school, Nick.
I wonder if they would actually update it using Topcoder. Maybe once they see these apps, and I'm sure they'll be like, we could probably update this thing.
they'll just put the app in place of the
Yeah, exactly.
of the website. But looks like Conlon's going to start to work on some branding as well, getting the colors from the school's website. You can actually see that he had taken screenshots here, and I bet he's going to grab the eyedropper tool to get all the colors right. So
Very cool. We have a comment off of Facebook who wants Kaushik says, who is currently the speaker? Who is speaking right now?
Oh,
I guess he just joined us.
cut back to the studio view. Hello.
All right.
I'm
Hi,
Will
Couch.
Price. This is Nick Castillo.
How
We
you
are
doing?
your hosts for the Top Coder Open.
Yeah.
We are sometimes experts on things, and sometimes we're not. We try to bring in the real experts when we're not. So.
Yes. So yeah, we're kind of giving you the lay of the land, a little background on a lot of our competitors, who's competing, what are they actually doing, and we've been doing this since this morning at 10 a.m. we started. Eastern
yes. Yep, 10 a.m. We do have a broadcast schedule. It's available at TCO17.topcoder.com. If you're watching on our Twitch stream, it's available there as well.
Sweet.
It's right in the our channel description. So,
Awesome.
now keep in mind that's the time that you and me and various other folks from Top Coder are going to be on and talking about the competition. In between sessions, we are trying to just scroll through competitor screens so you can see what people are up to even when we're not online talking.
Exactly.
And that's just because we need to eat too, guys.
We're only human. We're only human.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here and commenting. And we got Chris Bruzzi.
Oh, hey, Chris Bruzzi.
Gotta love watching live design challenges.
Oh, excellent. Chris has been involved with Top Coder over the years, and this has been a great partner with us. So, Hi, Chris. It's good to see you again, even though I can't see you, but you can see me.
And Zahid says, "This is awesome." So.
Oh, well, that's wow.
The greatest compliment.
That is the great, yeah, really.
to
And
us.
we get to sit here and read the comments and not worry about it. That's so
Yeah.
nice. So thank you, everyone, for the great feedback. Speaking of feedback, if you do have additional feedback, please put it up. Hit us on Twitter, post it on Facebook, post it in the Twitch chat. If there's someone you want to see who's competing, if there's something you're not sure about, or you need any explanations about what's going on in the competition, we would be happy to bring that to you. So right now, Nick has jumped up, taken over the camera, is giving you the panning shot of the Top Coder Open Arena right now. Folks are filtering back in, seeing maybe a little bit of board gaming going on. Still a lot of people coding. They might be working on challenges right now that aren't related to TCO, or just following along. Maybe they're watching us. Who knows? So as we pan to the right here, we're moving over to the marathon match side of the arena. So the screens coming into view right now are where people are able to watch what the marathon competitors are up to. Right there, you can see the screen of Tome Run. You can with the visualizer running on it right now. And as Nick continues to go over, these are our marathon match competitors. Mostly not going to see much because we do have desk screens up. People need to stay focused on their own screens, and we want to preserve the integrity of the competition. You're also catching a little bit of our studio set over there in the corner. So this is right over in the area where Nick and I sit as we are talking through the broadcast. Nick right now is scrolling over, zooming in maybe a little bit. Who are we looking at, Nick? Is that I believe that is Tourist, one of the SRM competitors, usually a favorite in the algorithm competition. A bit of an upset last year, but looking to get back on top this year. So we will have Tourist in the algorithm competition later. And he is actually chatting right now with our own Harshit, who is part of the community team here at Top Coder. And now Nick's just kind of creeping on them, so don't worry about that. It's a nice opportunity to highlight the members, so you can see we got a little bit of board gaming on here. I do enjoy some board gaming myself, but I won't go anywhere near it because I'll just get absolutely crushed when I'm at TCO. The folks here would just absolutely crush me. So sure that this is a great opportunity when they get together to just have kind of competition at the same level. And I think Nick has grown bored of cameraman work and is returning to us now. Why don't we check in on the marathon match again, Nick?
Let's go ahead and do that.
All right. I have to figure out who we're on. Oh, we're on Saiho, who is checking the leaderboard. So this is also your leaderboard update for the marathon match.
Yeah, a little
Saiho.
2-in-1 action. And it looks like maybe his strategy is to just constantly submit his solutions to see where he falls on the leaderboard. Mm-hmm. As you can see, he's had 34 full submissions. So that's a lot of the larger.
Well beyond what anyone else has done. So actually, that's up to 34. You're not even seeing an update on his side. I think he's waiting for it to finish still. But we see that he's already submitted on our end. He's already submitted that 34th. So hopefully he's gonna pull up a little visualization of it. Let us know what's going on.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, I'm glad that he pulled up that leaderboard, though, since we had to pull our feet off. All right, we're going to cut over to Tome Run, who is currently running his visualizer. Oh, he stopped it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. All right, so Tome Run running his code. Red areas represent high crime areas. Green dots are patrol cars. They're almost like bees swarming around the map. And it looks like he's keeping things under pretty good control there. I'm seeing the red disappear and things staying pretty good. So that's I'm glad we got that finally time to show everybody what we've been talking about with that visualizer. So Tome Run giving us a nice little demo of what's going on. Currently sitting in third place on the leaderboard.
We have a comment coming in that says from Abner. He says they all look so young.
A lot of them are young.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Tourist. He was, I think, barely out of high school when he started with us, and once he did, he shot up really fast.
Yes.
On the leaderboards.
During the SRM competition, so the SRM competition is a more rapid fire algorithm competition. That in particular, you'll see a lot of youth in there. But one of our American representatives, Scott Wu, is still. He was at Harvard, I believe. He left and started his own company.
He did. He's now in the Bay City area. Starting his own company with a few other people. I got to talk to him a little bit at the Pittsburgh regional event. It was pretty cool to have him there. I think a lot of the members, a lot of the students that came to the regional, it's like one of their first times even interacting with Top Coder, to hear his story about how he's successful on the platform, and they loved interacting with him.
I'm sure he was holding court.
Oh, he was. He was. But who knows? Like maybe he's the next Zuckerberg, where drop out of Harvard and start a business that.
If anyone could do it, it would be him, I think.
He's a very smart guy.
Very smart guy.
Red rated, same thing, fresh out of high school. He was already being red rated.
Yeah, he was qualifying for TCO before he was even old enough to qualify for TCO. And even now, he's, I don't know, what is he, 20? 19 or 20?
Yeah, I think on the verge of 21, I'm sure. He's like a young Bryce Harper.
Just had to get in his nationals reference.
Of course. Don't leave us, Bryce.
All right. So with that, we're going to leave you with Tome Run for a couple minutes. We're going to take a 5-minute break and gear up, maybe try and get a little additional commentary on the design competition. So please stay tuned. If it's quiet, that's intended. So we'll be back with you in just a couple minutes.
See you guys.
All right, we're back with you. It's Will Price, joined again by Nick Castillo.
What's up?
Everyone else is avoiding us. No one wants to go on camera. Everyone's afraid.
Why are they so? What are they scared of?
I don't know, but we're on camera again. Hello.
Oh, look at the flood of
back on
love
that.
and the flood of likes coming in.
Is that?
Must be
I'm
James
sorry.
Corey. He just joined. Oh,
Oh,
and it
wow.
looks like my wife joined again. So
Oh, okay. Hello again, Valerie.
if she's on, apparently she didn't see it last time.
No, that's so cool. That's so cool. Like, I just glanced over. I'm sorry, this is like terrible on camera.
Oh, yeah?
But I glanced over at his laptop here, and I just saw this flood of likes come in. Is that just because we started talking?
I think so. They're like, oh my gosh, they're finally back talking and telling us what's going on here at the TCO.
I've never been so touched in my life.
Now you have.
Oh, how about that?
Get it? Dad joke.
No, on top of it. Not as good as Sean's the other night.
It looks like we got
Still
Adam
solid.
Moorhead walking
there
around.
he is.
He's made an
I
appearance.
feel like he was avoiding me because I was trying to get him to come on and talk about design.
Most likely.
We'll get him.
Sounds good.
So while we're waiting on that, we're tuning back into the marathon match, continuing on, taking a live look in at Sci-Ho.
There's the man of the hour, Mr.
yes.
Adam Moorhead. Here for
Oh.
round two, maybe a round two talk.
Yeah, I maybe here for a round two talk. Is Adam here for a round two talk? All right, we're hot swapping out Nick for Adam, and we're gonna talk about some design. All right, so
swap, huh?
yeah. Well, we are live, so
Okay.
All right, all right.
Glad to be
So,
back.
Glad. Yeah. So, Adam, you want to introduce yourself? We maybe didn't have all of these folks on earlier who are with us now.
Yes. Adam Moorhead. I manage all of our design and prototyping at Top Coder. So right now we are in semifinal number 2 for the UI design with 7 designers working away for 3 hours.
All right. Now, how much progress do you think they've made so far?
Looks like they've made a lot of progress. Now they've had time to watch the round this morning, so they have a little more insight into the problem. They've been able to kind of see what the earlier designers were doing, but that's okay because we want them to all kind of be at the same stage, even with some insight, because we're going to have a design workshop with the customer this evening from 7 to 9, where we go through everyone's approach and really get the feedback from the customer.
Do you think it gives an advantage to the second round competitors having that extra time to see the problem and think about it before starting their work?
Yeah, I do. I think it does, and I'm okay with that because day one is kind of learning about the problem. It's really understanding the customer. It's understanding what it is where we're headed. The actual judging really doesn't start until tomorrow.
Right.
So when we get into the final design rounds on Monday and Tuesday is when we start using scorecard and we start evaluating. And that's when we actually start breaking the problem into smaller pieces and smaller focus. So right now is really kind of a level setting day. So if they have a little more advantage today, I'm okay with that because it actually moves everyone farther.
Right. And the feedback that's given to the competitors later today will also be available to the ones who competed earlier, so
Exactly.
they still learned all the same lessons.
Exactly.
So even playing field, then all the competitors will compete at the same time in the final round.
Correct. So tomorrow, all 14 will be competing for 3 hours, and then on Tuesday morning, they'll all be competing again for 3 hours. This year, we do not have any eliminations, so everyone is moving on from round to round.
All right. So you'll be able to watch those designs live on our broadcast, and we can start watching them live right now. Maybe we'll take a peek in at a couple of their screens, Adam, and
Sure.
You can tell us what you're thinking, and also maybe walk us through the design problem. I know you did a great explanation this morning, but we might have some changeover in viewership. So I think running through it again would be valuable.
And so this year, we have a great UI design championship sponsor in M&T Bank. And they sponsor a local charter school called Westminster Community Charter School, and they sponsored this school for many years. And what they're looking to do is when a student graduates from Westminster, so this is up through 8th grade. So once they leave Westminster, they kind of lose touch with these students, and they want to be able to create an application where they can help still communicate with them, but also mentor them. So the ability to have students find individuals in the community that maybe are in industries or know certain things that they're interested in and can be mentors to them. So continue their education outside of Westminster, but also still kind of have an idea of how they're progressing and know that they have this mobile tablet application that they can communicate and still have a relationship.
All right, excellent. So right now we're looking in at Checkspur. So we already did one run through of all the designers early on in the first
Great.
the first half hour of the competition to see their initial steps, their initial thinking. We saw a nice mix of people just focusing on getting the right stock art. Some people starting to kind of lay out what their wireframe was going to look like roughly. It was kind of different approaches here. So Checkspur has made a lot of progress since we last checked in with them, which was only 20 minutes ago. I feel like. It's amazing how quick they can move. Anything that you see happening with Checkspur here that jumps out at you?
Not right now. I think he's starting out with the dashboard. So there's this idea of like, as a user, as a student, I have registered. I've logged in now. What's important to me when I first get into the application? So I think he's working on this idea of a dashboard. So I get in and I can see the things that relate to me. What have I been working on? So my progress. The ability to see the coaches or mentors, we're kind of using that word interchangeably right now, but to see like what can I take action on? So like any kind of dashboard, what's the thing that comes forward that I need to actually dive into? So right now it just looks like he's working on the presentation of his dashboard.
Yeah, I did see one screen that he had going earlier, and it looked like it was almost like a wizard for trying to pick out what interests you. So instead of it being word heavy, it was very icon heavy.
Okay,
so,
great.
You had a picture of kicking a soccer ball. Maybe you're interested in sports. So it looks like he's also trying to think ahead to how do I match people with the right mentor.
Right, and that's what we're looking for here in these challenges is what are the concepts you're bringing to the customer and to the experience. So just the idea of a wizard, like I'm going to come in and I don't know what kind of mentor I want. So maybe there's some kind of analysis of saying these are the things I like to do. And maybe these are the industries I should probably go into or think about, right? So maybe if I pick a bunch of arbitrary things or, obviously things that fit into analysis, right? And then it says, hey, you might be really great in computer science, right? Or maybe you might be really great in, industrial design, right? So the ability to actually find mentors in those fields that could help you.
All right, let's jump over, check in over on Conley. So looks like not super different from what we saw last time we checked in with him. He was still laying out this page, a lot more detail added here. So really kind of focusing in on one page. I guess this leads to a question that I'd have for you. Do you see the competitors bounce around a lot, or do you think they really hyper-focus one screen and then build everything from there?
Yeah, I think a lot. So it looks like he's also focusing on his palette, or like what are going to be the things he's going to move forward with, right? So what's his design system? So it looks like he's kind of working on that and saying, okay, here's some things I'm gonna focus in on, and then I'm gonna kind of crank through some of the other details. That's kind of my impression right this minute.
All right. So we had a little profile page there, and I'm just going to keep us moving around. We have a lot of great competitors going right now. So let's check in on Yoki and see how Yoki is doing. So Yoki, when we checked in earlier, was focused in on stock art. You can see behind that sports image. Last time we checked in on him on the broadcast, he was just pulling that down and getting his coloring correct. Looks like stock imagery is a big focus in this.
Yeah, definitely in his design, and it looks like sometimes they do that just to gather the right materials as fast as they possibly can while they're thinking about, okay, I know I need profile images for mentors, right? I know I need, probably similar to what Checkspur was doing, is images that relate to different types of skills. Right.
So it could almost be like a painter putting the right paints in the palette and then having it all ready to go.
Got to get your tool set together, right? So we didn't provide any predetermined images and things like that. So they actually have to spend some time in search and find those things. But after today, they shouldn't have to do that.
Yeah, a lot of that prep work will be behind them.
Exactly.
Excellent. So Yoki, focusing on getting the tools ready to go. Anyone else? Anyone you'd like to see?
Let's see how Abadvar is doing.
Yes.
So this is our returning champion. So this is our 5-time TCO champion. So
5-time champion Abadvar.
Looks like he's working on imagery also.
Yes, we did see some more progress as far as what he had been building.
Looks like he has a card system going here. So it looks like possibly request. Yeah, so it looks like he's showing that the student can view the different mentors and their kind of skill sets right away.
Right.
So similar to what we have at Topcoder, the idea of you have a profile and the ability to see what you're good at.
Yeah, yeah. Segmenting the community up. So yeah, in this case, showing technology. How many coaches participate in that technology community? How many people are interested in technology?
Yeah. Yep.
It shows that he's thinking early on about how the data will all relate. The information architecture.
Yeah.
Really
Yep.
of everything here.
So, and it also looks like, so he's mentioning programs in there. I'm going to assume here that there's also this idea that there may be some mentorship programs in this. That's a concept we really haven't thought or talked about, and we probably will in our workshop. But just if you bring in, like, are there some predetermined mentorship, like, steps, right? And then you start getting a gamification. So while I may sign up to be a mentor, I may not. Maybe there's a program where I can say, okay, I have to check off these things while I work with this student. Those kind of things. I think that's what it looks like in technology. This idea of there's 4 coaches, but there's 32 programs for them to be able to facilitate and go through. So.
And now, if those programs are something that maybe isn't a real thing, that's what they learn in feedback too.
Yep.
And it's actually one of the great things about working with the design community, especially me coming from the development side of the house, is you go in there with your preconceived notions, and then you ask all these designers to come back with their ideas, and suddenly it opens up your eyes.
Yes.
You start thinking about all these things. This could be the sort of thing that they might not even, the school might not even think about, and they say, hey, why don't we have the programs?
Yep.
And it's all because someone just thought, hey, I'm going to put that into a design. So you can definitely see a lot of progress there.
Yep, and that's the goal, right? And to say, should we have programs? Right.
Yeah, it at least starts the conversation. So we could be in real time watching Abhidavara change the direction of something.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Let's see here. We looked at. Can we look at Universal?
Oh wait, Universal was this morning.
Oh, he was this morning.
Yeah,
Who else do we have?
We can do
Carm.
Yiming.
Actually, let's look at Carm.
Carm? Yes. So give me one moment, and we will switch over to Carm.
So Carm's a great story. He won a trip last year, and during our semifinal, we had an elimination semifinal, and he was eliminated after the semifinal round. We're not doing that this year, but he said, "Hey, I'm going to take that challenge," and he qualified this year right away. So I think in stage 1, he qualified and said, "I'm gonna take this as a learning experience, and I'm not going to."
Yeah,
I'm going to get back.
Not happening again. He said, I'm not going to eliminate it again. Then I said, don't worry about it.
But he made sure he got back.
Yes, I'm sure he will be not at the bottom of the leaderboard this time around.
No, it looks like he's doing a good job here. So he has looks like he's working on classes, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, once he gets the feedback, it's actually a flexible design, I feel like, because it doesn't necessarily have to be a class. That can be easily mapped to an interest map.
Yeah.
So.
But now proposing there are things that you could go learn, right? This is mostly focused on just, are there mentors out there that maybe can help you with life skills or have been in similar situations as you, or are in industries that you might be interested in? And now we're looking at this as more of like, in addition to that, is like, are there actual maybe classes that could help me on the side of school, right? So enrichment type classes.
All right.
Interesting.
Excellent. So we have a couple more we haven't checked in on. If you have a couple more minutes to stay with us and give us.
Let's look at Yiming.
All right, we're going.
So Yiming returns this year. He was here last year also, but he is our very first TCO design champion in 2006, and he is back. And it looks like he is focused on getting some stock himself. So this first round really is getting a lot of getting the source materials put together and really kind of working through your thinking process.
See, on one hand, I hear you say that, but on the other hand, I saw some competitors in 3 hours this morning make 11 screens. So, and that's just so hard for me to grasp, how you're able to not only do all of the preparation work, but also do the actual crafting of the design.
Some are very
such a
fast.
short period. It is. They must be very good with their hotkeys.
But there's also, they are. There's some of them I never even see them use the mouse. They do everything on the keyboard with all the hotkeys. It's pretty crazy. But it's also, it's one thing to do 11 screens, but did you put the thought into those 11 screens? It's, sometimes quantity isn't quality, right? So.
Is after the semifinal round, is there a ranking just that will be distributed, or is it only feedback after the semis?
We will be providing them a ranking. So basically, where we feel they are at this point, and it's more of a initial approach, effort. We do have a scorecard, but we want to give them a sense of do they get something out of today and what they put into it, and our view of what they've done, so that maybe that can encourage them tomorrow that they, oh, hey, I need to step it up. Or, you know what, my concepts, my ideas are working. I can now take additional leaps. So the idea is that the feedback and the ranking should be motivational.
All right, no, that's a great thing, and we'll share those on the stream as well once we have the results come in from that.
Okay.
So I'll be hounding you for that list later tonight.
Yes,
I'm sure.
yes, you will be.
That seems like that's what I do, is I hound everyone for everything. So anyone else we can jump in and check on? I think we have one more. You haven't seen.
Arif?
Yes, Arif. Arif is the one I haven't been able to get to yet. So let's jump over and see what Arif is up to. So, not very surprising. Looks like we are back on stock imagery.
We just keep pulling up the stock, right? So, yep, once again, just looking to get their assets together.
All right, sounds good.
Let's
so
see, we are, we're an hour into this. So we still have 2 hours to go.
Yeah, and we will definitely be checking back in on these competitors over the course of
I will be pretty amazed to see where we are in an hour and a half, because just because they had a little more insight this morning, they're able to act faster on their ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Adam, I know you probably have to get back and make sure that they're all on the right track, but thank you again for joining us and giving the great feedback and explanation.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, Adam Moorhead, everybody.
See everyone later.
Will,
Thank you.
Probably bring him back again later.
Yep.
Because he can't escape.
Thank you.
Won't let him. Thank you, Adam. All right, right now we are watching Arif grab that stock imagery, but I do want to cut back and take a quick look at what is going on in the marathon match as well. Marathon match right now, Saiho is in the top spot. Still, W. Lati following behind him, and then Tomerun. The top three have been pretty consistently in those positions most of the day at this point. And right now we're going to jump in and check up on Saiho. So once again, if you do have any questions about the competition or about any of the competitors, or there's someone specifically that you would like to see while they're working, please give us that feedback in the Twitch chat or on the Facebook live feed. That would be very helpful to us to help us tailor the broadcast to what you want to see. It's very important to us to deliver the best experience to you possible. So please, get back to us on those platforms and let us know what we can do to make this a more enjoyable experience for you. As Saiho works through some updates here, we're going to jump around a little bit on the marathon match side. Take a break from looking at people finding stock imagery and see people who are a little further along in their competition. So now we are moving over to Tomerun again. We're going to get a quick look here, see exactly what is going on with him. Tomerun currently sitting in third place on the marathon match leaderboard.